Do you remember when Gweta Mantashe said South Africans are passive, cannot do anything for themselves, and they sit and wait for service delivery? Now the Minister of Home Affairs, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, says South Africans are not playing their part in the status of illegal foreigners in South Africa. Yep, the number of illegal foreigners is high, and somehow you and I as citizens are to blame. I'm Katla Romari. Welcome to Citizen Concerned, where we remind you to beware of the comrades.
The Home Affairs Minister, Aaron Motsoaledi, says while his department is addressing porous borders, the responsibility also lies with South Africans to ensure that their country is not invaded by illegal immigrants. He says some communities have a tendency of not reporting people who are undocumented. Motsoaledi also called on municipalities to implement strict bylaws for businesses that could be operated by unregistered owners who are not contributing as taxpayers.
Home Affairs Minister Aaron Motsoaledi says he's prepared to fight tooth and nail to get rid of corruption within his department. He says those who are undermining the work done by government by being involved in illegal acts must face the full might of the law.
There's a gentleman here who was called a prophet, and South Africa still believes he's a prophet. A gentleman by the name of Bushiri. Yes, he came here. We gave him a visa to come and visit, because we don't chase visitors away. He arrived here on a visit. He then corrupted Home Affairs officials, and they gave him a permanent residence document.
What are the taxes that we pay being used for if we now have to go around identifying illegal foreigners in South Africa? What is the role of Home Affairs officials, border control, police officers? What is the role of Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi? Our people voted for you to make sure that illegal immigrants do not enter or work in South Africa. You allowed foreigners to come here and set up their businesses, work, churches, and even commit crimes right here in South Africa. Now we, as citizens, must report illegal immigrants. Imagine the audacity of this minister. Why are we paying you millions in a salary and benefits if we have to identify illegal foreigners for you? You as the ANC receive our taxes, and all you have to do is make sure you train your law enforcement, border and home affairs officials. You put a wall or a fence to make sure that crossing the border illegally is not easy for the foreigners. You have not done that, and you want us to do the damage control. Now you come to us and tell us that we are not playing our part. What kind of politicians are these ANC leaders, Marae? If those trained and paid to do this work are failing, then how do I know which permit is real and which permit is fake as an untrained citizen? Some of these illegal foreigners are using fake documents, and as you said yourself, some of them are getting their permits fraudulently from your officials. This is not a new problem. It's been going on and even expanding year on year. What have you done to curb this problem? You as the ANC receive our taxes. You're supposed to use our taxes to patrol the borders. You're supposed to have officials policing the borders of South Africa, checking to make sure that there is no trafficking of humans in and out of South Africa. You're supposed to inspect different workplaces to make sure that employers are not employing foreigners, that is, illegal foreigners, in their businesses. You're supposed to update your visa system to make sure there is no corruption. You should have your compliance division making sure that all your systems are audited, checking all issued permits and visas to make sure they were issued legally, checking whose visas are expired and getting those individuals out. You should be patrolling our towns and neighborhoods, checking for people with fraudulent passports or without papers. But now you want us, the citizens, some who voted for you, who pay our taxes, to endanger our lives by doing your job while you sit in your air-conditioned offices doing what exactly?
President Cyril Ramaphosa says inefficiencies that existed at the country's borders allowed corruption and organized crime to thrive. The president was speaking at the official launch of the Border Management Authority, a new entity that's tasked with securing the country's borders.
The Patriotic Alliance is on a mission to combat what it calls illegal entry into the country by physically patrolling themselves along the riverbanks of the Limpopo River.
When you're incompetent, this is exactly what happens. You start finding fault in the people you're supposed to be serving because they are not doing your job. The ANC has been in charge of all the government departments of South Africa since 1994. And yet you want to make it seem like we, the citizens, are to blame for the foreigners coming into South Africa, working, running businesses, and committing crimes with no visas. Really? Have you never been to Johannesburg? I'm sure you avoid it by all means. Illegal foreigners are all over the place there. Just drive around the CBD and the surrounding areas in any city and you'll find them there living their best lives, freely available for you to deport. But no, you don't do it. You don't go there. Instead, you want us to risk our lives by reporting these issues when you know very well that your officials are being corrupted inside your house, and they will tell the illegal foreigners that so-and-so reported you just to be given 100 Rand. Walk along Small Street around Bree GP and check. Foreigners own shops there. They're selling everything, including counterfeit goods. Whenever Metro Police or Home Affairs enter Joburg, the illegals simply close their shops and wait for a few hours until the officials go. I'm not saying something that I have not witnessed with my own eyes. ANC is incompetent, it is clear. They want us to do their jobs when we pay our taxes for them to do their job. Upside down ministers are confused. Clearly, this minister has given up. He's at the end of his wits. This is why you see that private citizens are able to do work better than the ANC. The show Sizokthola did a lot of your work for you. Did you even acknowledge and applaud their fearless efforts?
So, retweeted the screenshot the government system, your Home Affairs, on your phone. Are you allowed to have that on your phone?
When my colleagues are outside work, outside office, when they're on the street, they will call in or they'll send WhatsApp request, the screenshot so that they can, maybe, like we say, it's a roadblock, and then they want to verify asylum or passport, they have to call me in the office, then I check, and I send them. Or if they're offline, then I'll do the same, I'll send to them.
Okay, so is your husband in immigration office?
No.
So why are you sending him the screenshots?
Is it, maybe you wanted me to check me something.
So your drug dealer boyfriend, is he an official of Home Affairs?
No, he's not.
He's not. So the suspect that we have is one of the guys that are in line to get an ID from you.
No,
I'm telling you.
I don't do IDs.
Listen, your assistants, you are helping a lot of Nigerians to get documents there.
Even you can check my phone. I don't have my foreign Nigerian contact. Even I do not.
Do you want me to call him?
Who? Please.
I'm busy. I want you to tell me, why.
Maybe be asking me to check if his friend, this paper is fine, or maybe his friend.
Are you allowed to do that?
No, but maybe do him a favor, checking his friend's papers if he's
Are
fine.
you allowed by the Home Affairs policies and laws?
No, I'm not allowed.
So I need you to speak very loud now, so that this lady can hear you. What business do they have with regards to IDs?
No, the husband used to tell me if I want ID, I can tell him.
How is he going to get you an ID?
So that his wife is working to Home Affairs. But the money, he was telling me the money which I won't afford. He was asking me, do you have 50,000 I can talk to my wife, things like that.
I don't know anything about the conversation. And me, I don't do IDs. I don't work with IDs. Like I said, I'm immigration.
You work for the Home Affairs?
Yes, with foreigners.
That means you guys have a syndicate inside Home Affairs.
I don't know that one.
Before we got here, we knew everything about you.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? You can deny and do whatever you want. But we came here with proper investigation and evidence.
Okay.
Yeah. Have fun, Ben. What's that?
Many of the drug dealers he caught were foreigners, and yet you'll find them still in South Africa making drug addicts and prostitutes of South Africans. Stop running your mouth and start deporting. Why is your department so slow in processing visa applications? Your Home Affairs department could have been a self-funding department with all the applications that come there, but you've allowed a company from Dubai to come into South Africa and take over the application processes for visas, as if South Africans cannot do administrative work. Bushiri was supposed to be in jail for money laundering by now, but guess what? Your department let him get away. He escaped South Africa as if there are no borders. Thabo Bester managed to escape this country as if there are no borders. The Guptas managed to escape from justice too, as if there are no borders. Cars leave South Africa after being stolen from South African citizens, and they are taken to Zimbabwe, Mozambique, as if there are no borders. A man enters South Africa with millions in US dollars, and that money ends up in the couches of the most powerful man in South Africa. And you're telling us that we are not playing our part. Really? Really? Don't tell us to do your job. You need to get your act right and do your job. The problem of greed has entered your department just like all other departments in South Africa, and it needs to be purged out. Anyone with a little bit of money can have their way with the president, his ministers, or government department officials, and there is nothing we as South Africans can do about it except vote you out. When South Africans with ideas and solutions try to present them to you, you ministers never pick up your phones and you never respond to emails. You never agree to meetings. Why? Because you give your time to the highest bidders, don't you? You are only willing to meet people with money instead of concerned citizens with solutions. That's why nothing good comes from your meetings with these corrupt people. Instead of giving an ear to people with real solutions, you're selling our country to the highest bidder, one department at a time. How sad. Why and how did VFS get the privilege of being a monopoly on the process of visa applications in South Africa? That money that foreigners pay VFS could have been coming to South Africa, to the South African Home Affairs. Very, very easy. Take action. Deport whoever does not have the right paperwork. Remove the unnecessary red tape that makes it difficult for innocent foreigners who want to make a positive contribution to South Africa. Allow them to get their documentation. Open cases of corruption against the captured officials and get them arrested. Clean up the system and you won't need to blame taxpayers for not doing your job. Thank you so much for watching. What are your thoughts on this matter? Please comment below, letting us know. Until next time, I'm Katlego Moagi. This is Citizen Concerned, where we remind you to beware of the comrades.